Hi, my friends. It's Dr. John Raymond Baker, DC, and here we are in October. It's been a while since I've done a video. And in all my videos, I try to either give you information, clear things up, or in some cases warn you as a consumer about things you want to watch out for. And unfortunately, this video is going to fall into the latter category. Now, let me give you a little bit of the background so you'll know what's going on. My wife needed a vehicle, so in the latter part of 2012, December, she was wanting NISSAN JUKE. Don't ask me why. It was really not my choice, but that's what she wanted, and so we got a brand new JUKE from NISSAN Peltier, or Peltier NISSAN, P-E-L-L-T-I-E-R, I believe it's a French name, in Tyler, Texas. Now, our experience with them in the customer service department has not been stellar. You might remember that I had a video that showed how they had ripped my wife's seat when she took it in for some service, and then refused to fix it and was going to try to make her pay for what they did until I brought some heat and some unwanted attention via my videos and via contacting some of the higher ups there. And then they were just all peaches and cherry and asked that I remove the video, and they went about fixing the seat, although still not 100% to my satisfaction. At least they repaired it, I guess, as well as they could, which says something, I suppose. Now, recently, and my wife needed a good vehicle, a new vehicle, and like I said, this is the second new vehicle we've purchased from those folks, because she does a lot of driving in her job. So, recently she told me, honey, I'm having a problem with the car that just started. It's a Nissan JUKE, which I guess is a crossover, that she'd be going 70 miles an hour and suddenly it would drop down, she'd be losing power, and suddenly the service engine light came on. So my wife is pretty fastidious about taking care of her vehicle. She puts the proper oil in there, changes the oil, makes sure it always has plenty of oil, all this. So she called the dealership and they told her, well, bring it on in and we're pretty sure it'll be covered under your warranty. Well, she's out of her warranty, but she opted to purchase what's called the Gold Extended Warranty. Gold meaning it's enhanced or better than your average or whatever. So they issued her a car which said on the back, Peltier rental vehicle. And then I believe the same day that she was driving it, or the next day, they advised her that the warranty company, insurance, whatever, was going to refuse to pay for the repairs. And their explanation was that the turbo, now I'm not a mechanic, so I'm just going to give you the benefit of my limited knowledge. I mean, used to I could work on cars before they were all computerized, but now it's a different story. But that the viscosity of the oil was low and it had caused the turbo bearings to fail. Well, it sounded odd. And they weren't saying that she didn't change her oil or she didn't have the right oil in it. They just talked about the viscosity, which is a fancy word for how easily things flow. And the viscosity of the oil had caused the turbo bearing to fail, and they weren't going to cover it. Now, how much could that be? Well, in her case, it's $2,300. And they were going to charge us an arm and a leg, I think $200 a day for the rental car. So we had to take their little rental car that proudly proclaimed on the back window that it's you couldn't drive it anywhere without everybody going, oh, there's a rental car from Peltier NISSAN in Tyler, and get a company that is a well-known international or at least national company that their rates were much, much cheaper than Peltier. So we had to be doubly inconvenienced in taking their car back, getting another place's rental car for something that should have been fixed under warranty. Now, like I say, I'm not a mechanic and I don't claim to be. I'm a doctor and I claim to be that. That said, I'm not a fool and I know how to read and I know how to research on Google fairly well. And I started researching this whole notion of the turbo and the bearings and all this. Well, what I kept reading was that the turbo in the JUKE is cooled by water/coolant. That's the main cooling feature. It's not like your regular engine where engine oil is the cooling factor. It's water/coolant. And I don't know if by coolant they mean something that's added to the water or just another name for water, but most of the places that I read said water. Not oil, water. Now there was a couple of mentions that there possibly was some turbos that had a combination of water and oil that cooled them, but always in every mention it kept saying your turbo is water cooled. Well, then that made me start thinking, what the heck does the viscosity of the oil do with the turbo engine being cooled and the bearings and all? Now, my wife doesn't know a lot about cars, but she had heard a long time ago that, or at least, there was no talk with her at the dealership. Here's what you must do, A, B, C, to take care of your car. They didn't mandate she read any advanced manuals. My wife's not a mechanic, she's a nurse. They didn't mandate she read the extended warranty paperwork. But she did hear that, when you've been driving hard, you let your JUKE idle for a minute or two to let it cool down. So she always does that. Usually as she's pulled into the parking space, she might turn to me and say a few words, and after a minute or two, she cuts the car off. So that really is the only thing that I've found that you're kind of expected to do, even though no one tells you. You have no informed consent from the dealership, because I was there when the car was purchased. Nobody told me, nobody told her, oh yeah, remember you leave the car on to idle a minute or two. Nor did they say anything about, when you try to avail yourself of the extended warranty that you're paying an arm and a leg for, they're probably going to deny it and try to find a way to weasel out of it. It kind of reminds me of this guy at an insurance dealership, a health insurance company, whose job was to find any way possible to deny an insurance claim for health insurance. And he would look at things like, one girl had, I believe, a yeast infection when she was 13 or 14 or something. And when she was in her 20s or 30s and applied for the health insurance, she forgot to include that as a past health problem. And I believe the lady had, at the time that she applied for the insurance, some sort of cancer, maybe ovarian cancer or whatever. And his job was to deny it. And when he found that, oh, you didn't tell us you had a yeast infection or some sort of, small infection like that you didn't report that on your original application, so we're not covering your cancer therapy or cancer treatment. You can just die for all we care. So what I'm seeing is that there must be someone at the extended warranty, gold extended warranty for NISSAN, Peltier NISSAN, or NISSAN USA, and I have all the people that work at the corporate office, and they'll be hearing from me. And this won't be the last video I make about this. They're going to think $2,300 is paltry by the time I'm finished. But if you're thinking about buying a NISSAN, like a new NISSAN, like a JUKE or Altima or whatever from Peltier NISSAN, and they're trying to push an extended warranty on you, just remember my wife's situation where they're trying to screw her over and say, no, we're not going to cover it. $2,300 because the oil viscosity is low, when in fact the turbo in her engine, per everywhere you look in Google, people that, you know, ostensibly know more about engines than I do, say that the turbo is in fact water cooled, or possibly in some cases water/oil, but the predominance is it's a water cooled turbo. So it doesn't matter about the viscosity of the oil, even though she used the right oil, kept it changed, kept kept it not from getting under where it should. You know, it didn't have anything to do with a water cooled turbo, does it? And it darn sure